two great companies up here. They're going to have 6 minutes to give you a pitch on their business, and then it's followed up with a 20-minute Q&A. That's for you guys to ask questions, make suggestions, or any comments you might have for the business itself. Normally we have a lot more organizers that are here, but the one that is here is myself, Marianne, and then JJ Roberts over here. Sean will be here, Danielle will be here, Chris will be here next week, so you'll get to deal with us for the majority of the day. Sorry for you guys, but hey. And also, of course, could never forget Carly. She's the one who actually does all of the work and puts together the lovely emails you guys get twice a week. And if you have any questions about the events and the presenters that are coming, the email list is right over there in the corner for you guys to sign up for the twice a week emails. But I will go ahead and get out of your way, so please give a warm round of applause for Terry with GuestWings.
Good morning. I'm Terry Shapiro. This is my business partner and partner, Michael McNutt, and we just recently founded the GuestWings Corporation. So we have a basic agenda. I'll start with, well, what was the inspiration for our idea? And with just a little piece of background, I will tell you that A, we're new to St. Pete. B, we showed up in October pulling a 20-foot Airstream. And we lived out at Fort DeSoto for 3 weeks until we pulled into a house, 34th Avenue North off of 4th Street, which we rented for 3 months because daughter Eve was getting married. Daughter Eve got married January 16th right down the street at the Shuffleboard Club. That's the Banyan Street right at the corner. Okay? There were 160 people at the wedding, and one of the things that was motivating us was we really wanted to be able to house our family coming from LA. There were a bunch of them. So we were expecting a house full of 7, and that animation is not working right, guys, but that's okay. So I'll just tell you the story. So we expected a house full of 7. The little arrows came up. And then suddenly, 2 weeks before the wedding, beloved nephew Dave wanted his live-in girlfriend that I didn't know about to be able to stay with us. Daughter Talia wanted her college roommate to be able to stay with us, and mom couldn't say no. So all of a sudden, we were having 9 people in a sizable house. But the real question we were dealing with was, well, where's everybody going to sleep, right? Not a big deal. Amazon.com air mattresses, right? Well, so here's how it worked out. We kind of went, okay, 3 bedrooms, David and Annie, well, maybe they can sleep in the living room. Let's see what happens. Well, if you're putting on a wedding, your living room might be occupied. Okay, so we had guest beds, we had the dog, we had table numbers, we had a lot going on. But fortunately for us, right outside in the actual front yard of this lovely house that we rented, we had what we call a guest suite. We had our 20-foot Airstream trailer. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have ever seen the inside of an Airstream trailer? Okay, so for those of you who haven't, it would be like going to see a gorgeous condo, okay, a model home, and seeing what they did with decorator touches. And so I actually borrowed this off of the Airstream site, but they're very high-end finishes. In fact, we were just at the Airstream factory and saw granite countertops. And no, it doesn't come with the wine bottles. There's a lot there that makes it a little more like a hotel room. So, wedding was January 16th, everybody cleared out, we fell in love with St. Pete and decided to stay. And it occurred to us that, you know, this whole thing about having visitors is a pretty big deal down here. And we may not be the only ones who ever have this problem of not having quite enough room for all of our visitors. So, in looking at the local statistics from the Visit St. Pete Clearwater group, in case you didn't know, we get 6.2 million annual visitors, and they do an annual survey. It's a quantitative survey, and they ask the question, what's the primary purpose of your visit? Well, 20% of those say that the primary purpose of their visit is to visit friends and family. They come in groups of almost 3. The way the math works out is there are 413,000 potential groups of 3 coming to visit friends and family. Yes, they probably don't all stay with their friends and family, but just think about it. And boy, if you could figure out a way to just help out 1% of those, that's about 4,000 visits. And when you do the math with the revenue, all of a sudden it started to look like an interesting business opportunity for us. So hence, we came up with the idea of GuestWings. We want to be in business to help Gulf Coast homeowners provide a short-term, overnight guest experience that delights their family and friends, greatly reducing the hassle and expense of sharing their homes with visitors. The idea is it would be like having your friends or family stay in a nice hotel, but just like be outside in your driveway. So sparkling, clean, beautifully appointed guest suites, small Airstream trailers, would be delivered to the homeowner's property and set up for guests. You'd have temperature control, water and electric hookups, up-to-date media technology. In essence, everything that you would get and maybe more from a hotel room, but not having part of your family at the hotel dealing with the separation and the difficulty of communication. There are some wonderful benefits that we're excited about in terms of convenience, privacy, and fun. So yes, it instantly expands the homeowner's space. It enables a larger group to be together, which for things like graduations and weddings is really handy. We've gotten some great feedback about the value of the privacy, so you might not have to be with your guests at all times of the day or night. For those of you like me who have allergy issues, I'm violently allergic to cats and can't be in homes where they have cats. This is a way of still being able to have family members stay with you and share in the experience. Lots of convenience for the homeowner because the suite will arrive completely clean. The suite will arrive with its own linens. No back and forth to the hotel, and then for some people, there's a big cool factor around Airstream. From a marketing standpoint, what we think is interesting is that we're not targeting tourists. We'd be targeting homeowners. So from a cost perspective, that might be better. We know that this won't work everywhere, so we have to look really on a neighborhood by neighborhood basis, but it's not going to work in gated communities where they're not going to allow RVs. We're going to need to find a way to make sure that the properties are suitable and that we can actually get the Airstreams in there. And we're thinking that we'll find some specific blocks. We'll be down to the block level to select the test markets. It's probably more of an upper income kind of play. We're thinking bigger families, pretty broad age range demographically. But what we really are excited about is that it's a disruptive business model. Just got one more. Okay, so it's the hospitality business model, but without the brick and mortar. We'll do charges per night. It's not Airbnb because our customer is not the traveler, but it's like Airbnb because we use the internet. Bunches of challenges, which I guess we'll talk about, but particularly around this is a very different way of creating a marketplace. I'm a strategy and marketing person. I worked for lots of big national companies. This is very different, obviously. Michael has a great operations background, long history in the Minnesota printing industry, and I tease him because his favorite word is throughput. But from that standpoint, we've got a good combination. Finally, timing plan. So we are targeting to have our website online by August. We'll begin some limited marketing in September. And we're really looking today, so I won't wait for the question to be asked, we're really looking today for your input. We're looking for, help us with some pitfalls. We also specifically need some professional referrals. We've been very fortunate. We found a graphic designer who's helped us. We found a lawyer. We don't need an accountant who can do this kind of a small business startup. We also need some leasing expertise. So,
Open it up for questions now.
yes.
When you say that you want to rent for $199 a night, how many people can you rent to in one guest room?
That's a good question. It depends on the size of the Airstream. And so right now, we traded in the 20 and we got a 27. You can sleep up to 6 in a 27-foot. We're thinking that a more ideal size for this and for the properties is probably a 22 or a 23-foot, which will sleep 4 comfortably.
Are you looking for people to loan out their Airstream to you, or are you looking to buy a Airstream?
That's a perfect question that we're wrestling with. If we're bootstrapped, so the ideal way to manage cash early on would be if we found some people where we could lease their Airstreams. And we'd certainly be open to that if anyone's interested in that. So we're looking at both sides of that. I think the challenge for us is also estimating market demand because, okay, so that's why we want to start with some very limited geography. Yes.
I don't understand the reducing these driveways. How are they hooking up to the electric?
The water is self-contained, so
there's tanks.
there's tanks, and same for the gray and black water. Use your imagination there. Electricity, we can either do 115s straight to a homeowner's outlet, or we have generators that provide all the power to charge the batteries when necessary. They're very quiet.
Yes, and what about city codes? Because if I had that part of my driveways, the city would be out there within minutes. That's, the city codes really tough.
Yes, we've dealt with that ourselves, we got a house over on Snell Island and parked it, and the city basically says Thursday morning to Monday morning, you can have your trailer parked there or your boat or whatever and work on it.
Yeah.
We have a lawyer here in town. Basically, this will be like pods, and the fact that it isn't your trailer, it's just there temporarily, and we think it's going to slip through on the ordinance that way.
We have some relationships to start building, and we have a lot of learning to do, and it could vary by community. And so, for example, we live very close to, what is it, Venetian Isles, okay? I doubt that they would accept that information, but that's a gated community. We think that there's a lot of places outside of that in St. Pete where,
Where our Airbnb was, for example, people kept their boats and trailers, and I come on the ladder move in their driveways, and nobody said anything.
Well, same thing's really funny, it depends on your neighbor too.
Yeah, it really
One of
does.
those neighbors, that's it.
that's part of our learning process
Yeah.
as well. Yes.
Do you guys have weekly rates?
I'm sorry.
Do you have weekly rates?
Well, we have weekly rates. I think that's something we'll learn about up front. I think that the question is also maintenance. I mean, how long can we,
How long can the trailer sit there before the black and gray tanks and other things need to be tended to?
Right.
Depends on how many showers and things people take. If we want the trailer to remain there, yes, we do have ways of emptying the black and gray tank while the trailer sits. And presumably we could refill and do everything also, so.
what's behind the question? What we do?
I'm actually in the hospitality industry, and weekly rates is very important because, I mean, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get more money across the board, all kind of deals to get more money across.
Yeah.
And $199, and yes, if it's 2 nights, I mean, I'm hoping to, I'd probably say $600 a week,
Yes.
Yeah.
500 bucks.
Okay. We'd love to talk with you. We'd love to network with some people in the industry because it's not our data. Yes.
What kind of utilization do you need at $199 per night to make the numbers work? How many nights in a month do you need to be running that out to make the numbers work?
If we so here's the really rough math, and it doesn't take much into account right now. But the really rough math is right now, and with very little down, we have a monthly payment of $660 on the 27-foot Airstream. Okay, so basically 1.5 3-night bookings option, at least on that piece of it. It doesn't take insurance, it's not gas, it's not there's a lot of other pieces. But that's enough where we kind of went, we wouldn't need a lot. So I think that's where scaling is a little scary, but there's some basics there that made it really. Yes.
I don't know if you looked at this, and I just off my head, so I'm not sure your idea or not, but I know in sailing, like you can go charter, bareboat, big sailboats, big catamarans, and they're very much like RVs, you know, the same tank systems, generators, electric, mechanical, all the same kind of things you think about. And what they did when they, like the first places that I did that with, like in the Bahamas, they struggled with the same thing. How do I get a fleet of boats? So what they did is I don't know, somehow they got into the dealership business combined with the chartering business. So they were selling the sailboats to people, but then keeping them, providing the maintenance, and so it's almost like a timeshare kind of thing.
So it's these boat clubs.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's a scenario where you could get a fleet and control it, but also not have to fund it.
I think that's a great idea. We should look at that. The one question that we had, so we were not campers. We sold our house in Minnesota a year ago, closed on it basically a year ago. We got this crazy idea that we our jobs. And we traveled for 4 months. We went out west with figures and traveled in a truck. Now, it was not quite like Robin Williams in RV, but when I tell you that there was a moment in Estes Park where, because of our lack of experience, that I thought the RV, we had it up like this, and we couldn't get it dislodged from the truck. And I thought it was going to go down the mountain and kill people. Okay? The difference with the concept you're talking about is people get checked out as captains, right? And there's a process that you go
It's a
through.
lot less formal than you would think.
Well, anybody can get into a truck and pull an Airstream, and that's a little scary. And just given traffic around here, and we see this as a very local concept. So I think it's a great option for the future, but we don't think we want
Well, I would
homeowners
say-
to be pulling them.
I'm not saying that you would rent them out in that
Yes.
same way. That's
So
how you
the
would
club
acquire the
idea.
fleet, but you would still do deliveries. Like, I'm assuming you're delivering and doing setups,
Yes.
right? So this is just getting you the fleet. You're not going to send them off with Robin Williams.
Thank you. Nice idea. Thank you. Very helpful. Let me take this question first, and I'll come back to you.
So I'm sure you're aware of the concept of glamping now.
Yes.
Would you consider pairing with campgrounds or anything like that to offer the same service?
Maybe.
We definitely worried about that, and one of our main worries from an operational standpoint is how the Airstream is used. Part of the disruptive business model is the fact that we're renting them to the homeowners. You set them out of the campground, and people decide it's a good night to have a campfire and drink all night, and bring the kids over and everything, then we got issues with the quality and what we can do. This is why there's people who are more than willing to rent it and put things in campgrounds for you, but it's a whole different business.
Yes.
So I see, a lot of people have these Airstreams. It's almost like a combination between Uber and Airbnb, where you have the people who own the camper would sublet it to you, and then you would bring it, you would set up and everything, and market it like Airbnb. So you would be marketing you would still be marketing to homeowners, but the Airbnb part of it would be sort of this fleet of mobile units that the person who actually owned it would get a piece of that income. So they would help finance, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yes. So that is an option. Yes.
One of the problems with leasing Airstreams from their owners is once you own one and get on the road, you realize that it's an iconic brand, much like Harley. You can imagine going to the Harley guy and say, here's $100, loan me your bike. The same is a lot with Airstream owners. They're in them, they're using them, and believe me when I tell you, almost anyone we've ever seen, even one's 20, 30 years old, you can walk in and eat off any surface. They're maintained, they're well taken care of.
Yes.
I have not been inside the Airstream, so what is the integrity like inside? I've had a couple campers in my lifetime, and they're not very well made,
Right.
sometimes inside, and they're lightweight. and-
Right.
Let me answer that. Airstreams, for the price of a 23-foot Airstream, you could buy 4, 5 on a travel trailer of the same size. It's the construction, it's the materials, it's everything inside. We looked at 100 different RVs before buying the Airstream. We were aghast at the price. The more we used it, the more we were in it, the more that you were around them to realize what you're really getting there. And I think that's going to contribute to the sale of this because people love Airstream. And when you get inside, it does not look like a 70s hotel room like you're talking about.
It
It's
speaks to marketing opportunities. So, for example, I think we're going to need to get, we should have brought it today. I should have gotten a parking permit so that when we were done today, I said that yesterday, I went, oh my God, we should.
This is,
But we could be at, that example is Big Art Fair, okay, out in Woodward Park. Okay, and have people kind of go through it and explain what the concept is, because I do think people would be shocked at what it's like on the inside as well. But, yeah.
And just to that point, the reason why I asked the question is really not so much how nice is it inside, it's really about you having this, you know, as a business, and folks coming in and using it on a regular basis, what's the wear and tear on it is what my...
that's what's nice. All the interior walls are aluminum. Everything is very easy to clean. I use lemon and dust, believe it or not, to clean the walls. It works,
You can't tell from the picture.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's leatherette. It's not real leather, but it's more cleanable. The new surfaces, these are for Micah, that's what we've got with the new surfaces. They've got a brand. We just went to the mothership and we went on the factory tour last week. So it was tourists, but it was actually pretty awesome. The lights are recessed. There's a ton of, but that's exactly maintenance, which is also not that built into our cost structure, is a huge part of this. So very excited, but I made him wait. Yes.
How do you think about seasonality? Obviously, there's a big season here in Florida. You have a lot more demand November through May. What do you do in the summer months?
For those of you who are in the restaurant hospitality business, you know, the statistics from the Visit St. Pete Clearwater are updated every year, and they're very impressive. And what surprised me was that they don't drop off as much in the summer as you would think. So, yes, the season is certainly higher, but it looks like the only really off months were, if I remember correctly, August and October. So, again, it kind of, we have things to learn about. If weddings are going to be a big draw for this, when we would market to wedding planners as one option, that'll take us all the way to June, graduations. We probably could get good Thanksgiving and Christmas business for families, and a lot of families do reunions in the summer. So those statistics were very helpful, and those are all available. Yes, KJ?
So are you going to have to deal with like room tax and that kind of stuff?
We need to find that out, because the question is, as a disruptive business model, we're not really a hotel. Now, I don't know yet. And you can be sure that somebody is going to want to get some cash from us somehow or some way. So that's what we've got to figure out. Certainly, we want to be part of what makes, travel is such an important industry for St. Pete Clearwater, and we want to be a part of contributing to that. So, yes.
2 questions. One is we have a 365, 24/7 emergency make
Yes,
this change for
absolutely.
breakdowns and this kind of thing. And then the other question too, when I'm my brain, and it'll come back, so I'll
That's
ask you
okay.
later.
That's okay.
Okay, great.
I'm gonna, well, let's, I forgot. Keith.
Thank you. And some of the feedback you've gotten is kind of trying to guide you towards strategic partnerships.
Yes.
Are you focused on that, or and is that a, to me, it would solve a lot of your problems on a lot of their problems?
Talk to me more about, so where would you
Well,
see
first
it?
of all, dealers.
Yes,
Are you contacting any?
we had our first meeting yesterday.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So,
Wedding planners, event planners, obviously. But to me, you really need help. You need to, people with infrastructure existing.
Yes.
With clientele coming into them, that you can see.
well, I think there's that, but I also think specifically, our first big challenge is also even from a maintenance standpoint. So as we start off, we're thinking we start off with 3 units. And well, 3 units we can probably manage ourselves, but as soon as we get that 4th unit, we're growing. Yeah,
The other thing is that you're kind of focused on selling airstream. But I see these huge, beautiful RVs parked and driving down the street. Why not expand your brand?
We're initially focused on Airstream. Our designer, our graphic designer is in the back of the room, and we went back and forth on whether or not we wanted something that was more iconic to Airstream in our logo. I would rule out anything, including maybe the development of unique tiny houses on wheels eventually. So there's a lot of great things to explore.
Right now, we're concentrated on Airstreams because of the way they're built, the ease of maintaining and turning around, and the way they look and everything.
Sean, I knew that. I don't know why.
Sorry. Yeah, Chris is a monster.
So
He's
how
the
can
coffee guy.
how can we help you grow your business?
One of the things that we will be looking for are a few guinea pigs. So this could be a major freebie. When we're ready, we would be willing to take it, use it in the way that it's intended, and give us feedback. We're going to be looking for a lot of feedback. So please, for sure, our website is not quite yet under construction, but we do own GuestWings.com. We will have emails, but in the short term, I've got some business cards. So we would certainly appreciate that. I do think I made the mistake of trying to get an accountant the week before tax season, and not surprisingly didn't get my email return. So we really could use a recommendation, because while our expertise does not cover cash flow, okay, we need someone who can really help us be smart about cash flow investments and also leasing. So.
So thank you guys so much. Awesome presentation, or at least the Q&A part today. So if you will all put on your special 1 million cups glasses, we'll all look at the events that are on the board. You'll be able to see them using our invisible ink. Just kidding, I'm going to touch a couple of events. As was mentioned last month, the National Day of Civic Hacking coming up this Saturday. You saw Tony and Terry talk about that last week. It's a great event to engage with the developer community, to engage with the civic community at large and help solve some problems and try and come up with some solutions for the issues facing our community and facing communities in general. Then coming up on the 18th of June is, the 16th of June is Birdborn, which is an all-day event at Nahafi that Keep Safety Local is putting on. We're a co-sponsor of, that is going to be just a ton of awesome speakers talking about what it means to be a St. Petersburger, to grow your business here. Our keynote will be Will Packer, who is an awesome producer, has produced like 8 #1 box office movies. He has produced the current
Roots series that's on the History Channel. He and I went to high school at the same time. I'm sure he remembers me and will cast me in his next film. Absolutely. And coming up on the 30th is Ignite Tampa Bay, which if you've been before is an awesome event. You're hosting in Tampa. It's kind of like a mini or a quicker TED Talk. You come up and speak about what's passionate to you in front of a large audience. They're still looking for speakers. More info about that will be in our email. But I was being given the wrap it up sign by Danielle because we're going to talk a little longer. But in fairness to Bruce, I will not. Bruce Burke, longtime friend of our event, is here to tell us about next money, Bruce.
Thank you. Forward, and back to back. Bruce Burke, I'm the CEO and founder of Gulf Bay Consulting. I'm a local consulting firm. I'm here to tell you about Next Money. They're reinventing finance through design, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I have just been handed the charter for Next Bank Tampa Bay. Next Bank is an international organization. It's the world's fastest growing fintech collaboration platform. It's built by a global network of innovators, communities, events, and programs. So I said the word fintech and everybody goes, what the hell is fintech? So fintech is the contraction of words financial and technology. Fintech broadly refers to the application of technology within the financial service industry. If you ordered an Uber, if you've done one-click buyout on Amazon, if you uploaded a check to your bank, if you paid a bill online, if you dealt with a customer interface, data security, it's all fintech. So think PayPal and way beyond that. Next Money has now 25 chapters across the world. There's now over 6,000 members. It's a small graphic. And it's about building a local community here in Tampa Bay that is people that are interested in innovation and finance and interested in innovation and startups and development and that sort of thing, period. The organization started here in Singapore. A friend of mine, Rob Finley, started the organization. They went across the world. We just are opening today in Charlotte, North Carolina. Next Money Charlotte. And Brad Feld from Techstars will be presenting there this afternoon at that event. So they're really ramping up and getting some big names in. As I said, my job is to build a local regional chapter, build a community of innovators and incumbents, the banks, the financial service providers, as well as the startups, the rule breakers, the deal makers. We're going to conduct regularly scheduled meetings here in Tampa Bay. I'm going to do one in St. Pete, Clearwater, and whatnot.
It's a touch screen.
Okay. And there we go. I didn't know I could touch the screen and move it forward too. Wow, you're sophisticated. All right, Sean. And occasionally we'll be conducting larger events with speakers, similar to what Brad Fell's doing in Charlotte today, and we'll have an annual conference summit right here with all the internationals joining us. Next Money was originally called Next Bank. We just recently rebranded and we launched the charter after the rebrand. The rebrand was because in some countries you can't have a company named bank unless you're a bank. So they started as Next Bank in 2012 in Singapore, and then they had Rome, Italy. Following that, you can see the list of events all around the world that are associated with Next Money. Coming up, we have Hong Kong coming up, Silicon Valley, and New York City's coming up also. Here's the upcoming events. September 7th in New York City, and then London, Hong Kong, and then Silicon Valley again. There's a big push in Silicon Valley. We just had an event there. Next Money is also behind the innovation and trying to foster innovation. We'll tell you about that in just a minute. This is a press release that talks about the rebranding to Next Money. It was rebranded, one, to better reflect the expanded focus. It was also rebranded to, like I said, get rid of the idea of a bank. We want to broaden the perspective and make it larger. The local chapters are supported by Visa worldwide. Visa's the sponsor. as well as BBVA is sponsoring the FinTech Finals that we're developing. And as you can see here today, June 1st, the Charlotte chapter will be having Brad Feld. They also, within the rebranding, acquired the Bank Innovators Council. It was a 2,000 plus member organization of innovators in banking. So it's really a growing firm and really a growing group. We're fostering innovation and accelerating development by starting this FinTech Radar Challenge. They call it radar because they're on the other side of the world. Think dashboard. Think an executive dashboard that you would use to make decisions. They want to build the ultimate FinTech data news and insight tool, and they're incentivizing developers to do that. What they're doing is they want to build the fact that there's too many data points, there's too many launches, there's too many updates, there's funding rounds, there's all this stuff going on in FinTech, and so we're trying to get this going, and we're trying to incentivize people to build this. Who can participate? Anybody who's a developer, a data miner, innovator, can go ahead and move it. Here's all the variances on I'll have this available to anyone who wants it. This is the caveats that they're looking at in the building of the platform, the timeline of the platform, all the way up to the FinTech Finals in Hong Kong. You will go if you develop this platform. You will be in Hong Kong next year. Some judging criteria, the prizes, 5,000, 2,500, whatnot, and join, please. Yes, sir.
So I am not a startup. I have very little financial knowledge whatsoever. I can't balance a check, but how can I be involved in Next Money Tampa?
You're an innovator. If you're in design UX, if you're interested in developing more for Tampa Bay and building more in Tampa Bay, if you're passionate about learning about finance, if you just want to learn, a lot of the things that they're building within the platform are also to educate the people that want to join up to learn about FinTech, not just the security and don't take your NFC card out and don't let somebody hack it and that sort of thing, but real deep learning about blockchain, about Bitcoin, about how banks function. There's a lot of companies now doing a lot of new financial transactions that don't involve a bank anymore. So the banks are really kind of scared now because companies like PayPal and the Wallet and all these new financial companies are doing over the top. They don't even need the banks. The transfer is not going from a bank to a bank as it's traditionally done. So there's a lot of changes going on, and to stay abreast of all this, you need to be involved in financial technology. Yes, sir.
I'm still not clear on what exactly Next Money is. Are you a for-profit company? Are you a
Think of it like a trade association,
Okay.
but worldwide. I've taken the 5th chapter. We have New York, Silicon Valley, Charlotte, and now Tampa Bay, plus the others all around the world. It's local chapters of an international organization that's leading the charge in innovating in FinTech.
Is it to educate financial services companies on all the technologies that are available to help them in their businesses? Or is it for consumers?
It's for advancing the conversation and making things happen and introducing incumbents to innovators, because innovation doesn't happen within a bank. I don't know how many banks you guys have been to, but there ain't nothing innovative in a bank. They still think of money in a vault. They do not think of financial transactions. So they go to the innovators, the rule breakers, the startups, the people who don't think like bankers and say, help us fix this, because the people don't come to our branches anymore. They come up to the ATMs, they go online, they use the mobile app. How are we going to survive as a business anymore? They don't know. They really don't know, because the idea of, I got all this cash and I got to go put it in a safe building, not many people deal with that anymore. I know I don't deal with it. I haven't been to a bank. I can't remember the last time I physically walked into a bank, and did a financial transaction. Questions? Yes, ma'am.
So, two parts going off of his question. tell us how to join and what does it mean?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Join, you said join?
Yeah,
So what does that mean?
it's an organization. There is membership. You know, you can join and be a member, but there's no cost to come to the meetings. There's no cost to participate. There's no cost to be involved on a local level. What we're really just trying to do is build a community, and naturally, just like Sean built a community by taking a local charter of 1 million cups. 1 million cups exists throughout the entire globe, am I right? It's a global organization, and you have a local charter of 1 million cups. So essentially, like Sean and Marianne tried to build a local community here, same thing I'm doing here with financial technology. I'm sorry?
And Danielle.
And I'm sorry, and Danielle. I'm sorry. And JJ, and I don't know, go back to one slide. I don't want to leave anybody out. I saw some new dude up in the corner over here that I don't know. Yes, sir.
How does next money make money, or how do you get funded to continue your operations?
We're funded by Visa to support the local chapters. We're funded by BBVA, which is a worldwide international financial firm, and they're funding the FinTech Challenge. Most of the people that are involved in the organization and are part of the organization are people that are already leaders in FinTech. In the UK, we've got Chris Skinner. He's one of the world's leading experts in financial technology. We've got Dave Burge. We've got Brett King. We've got, I could go on and on and on. The people that are involved in this organization are not, low people on the totem pole. These are leading people throughout the world that are interested in financial technology. Yes, ma'am.
Are you actually going to have an incubator capability? Is it like a Techstars for financial services?
We're not really trying to build an incubator. What we're really trying to build is we're trying to collaborate with the incubators to incentivize them to be involved in FinTech. My point here in Tampa Bay is to build meetings, not only just St. Pete, Tampa, Clearwater, all around the Bay Area. So I want to have a meeting each week in each one of the cities, and then have more sophisticated events where we have speakers come in from out of town and present topics of interest, similar to what they're doing in Charlotte today. So it's we're trying to work in unison with the incubators, Tampa Bay Wave, Greenhouse, etc. Yes, sir.
So I have an app that deals with IFI, International Financial Institutions, that I wrote for OECD, World Bank, IMF, those kind of organizations. It's just sort of sitting there. We are doing some business with the OECD over the summer. But what advantage would I have, would be to me, to get involved with this?
Network. Find people that might be interested in your application, people that would understand the principles and how it was built and the foundation of security you probably have in the background to make it work. People would have appreciation for it and could maybe introduce you and take you higher up the chain or help you continue to build it. It's collaborative. It's there's no fees, there's no dues, there's no sales pitch here. This is just be a part of a group. Be a part of, it's just like Knights of Columbus or Masons or, people with similar interests growing things,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I Googled FinTech trade associations, I came up with like 10 minutes. Most of them are geographically specific. So your organization provides some framework for setting up these chapters, et cetera. So your business is create chapters in individual areas in this area. So basically duplicating what these trade associations are doing, but providing a template.
Exactly. The organization provides a template. I sent them some text earlier this week. There's a nextmoney.org/TPA coming out this next week. All the materials will be handed down from the headquarters. The meetings they give me some basic guidelines. They're not looking to mandate. What they're looking to do is build and grow an international organization that's interested in developing advances in FinTech through network, through community. Yes, sir. collaborate with banks. They're our primary sponsor to begin with, to accelerate their capabilities and go beyond thinking about money in a vault to thinking about how people really want to interact with banks and what people really want from banks, which is something totally other than bankers want you to do with banks. Yes, sir.
The technology that you're developing as individuals and that kind of stuff, is this kind of a collaborative thing in a sense? So is it open source where you're sharing that?
Exactly.
Is there a repository? Is there software repository?
The call for the FinTech Challenge is for open source developers, so we're leaving it open. As well as the FinTech Challenge, which is kind of develop us a dashboard so we can make executive decisions, usually with an at-a-glance, infographic or that sort of thing. They're also building a platform for the individual chapters to collaborate and network with each other. So there'll be a Next Money Facebook platform, so to speak, so we can interact with each other, we can collaborate on business, we can get to know each other, we can share events and information with each other. So there's two different fronts. There's develop the innovation on something that's probably far beyond what we can do. We don't pretend to have all the answers. So we're looking for people that might have some answers to help us develop this dashboard, but at the same time, something simple like a collaborative business networking platform. That's pretty simple, and that's been done a lot of times, and so we're doing that internally. Yes, sir.
So you have places all over the world. Why Tampa Bay?
Because I'm here. I'm a Clearwater resident. Some quick backstory. In 2010, I went to Singapore, and that was the first time I met Rob. I was there for a GSMA, it's the GSM Association of the World Mobile Money Summit there. And I met Rob, and we both left from that conference kind of invigorated, and we both started conferences. I started an event called Social Mobile Payments here in Tampa Bay. I did my first one in Orlando in 2011, and then I did another one in 2012 in Miami. Then I got divorced, and then I didn't do anything for about a year and a half. So now I'm coming back out with Next Money. I've got a new cause that I'm very excited about. Having already developed an audience through social mobile payments, it's not just about a conference with this, it's actually about accelerating. A lot of conferences, come to our event and you'll be leading providers and blah, 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 and 2 days later the conference is over and you got nothing and you spent your $2,000 and, we'll see you next year, make sure to bring your two, This is ongoing. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I buy a lot of this. The challenge is what gets me. Your sponsors are Visa and BBVA.
Yes, sir.
And the ask is to have developers develop them a financial dashboard.
No, it's not developing for them. It's developing for the community as a whole. One, it's open source, so it's not proprietary code that's being handed over to Visa. Actually, the FinTech Challenge, Visa is sponsoring the local charters or chapters, whichever way you want to refer to it. They're not sponsoring the FinTech Challenge. Next Money itself is sponsoring the FinTech Challenge. BBVA is sponsoring the FinTech Finals, which happened in Hong Kong in 2017.
So I get that you're saying it's open source, but the community is the community of financial services companies?
No, it's not. It's just a group of people that came together as a community to make things happen.
Okay.
Make something different. Yes, sir.
So Bruce, this sounds like, similar to just like a users group, like we sponsor the Oracle users group, they have the meetings in our office. So if people that are interested in developing in that technology or companies that are running that technology, it's basically you're building a community around the concept of financial technologies.
You got it.
Okay, so the part that throws us off is I think we're used to thinking of how do we help you make money. But you're kind of creating community, so it's coming at this from a different angle. I think that's kind of, right? Am I wrong?
It's ultimately, almost everybody involved in the organization is a consultant or an expert and that sort of thing. And obviously, down the line, they hope to develop business out of it. But they're that kind of business development. Build a community and business will occur out of it naturally. So it's not a hard play. It's more of a governmental kind of a play. Let's build the roads so businesses grow on it. Same idea.
And that part, again, I'm just going back to the challenge. We've actually had at least 2 companies present at Million Cups that their business is doing what I think that challenge appears to be trying to do, to create a dashboard somewhere for financial services to show the data to
Yeah, it's to collect data about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with funding rounds, what's happening with just development period, what deals are happening. If you put your Google News and put fintech as a search term, you're going to find stories every 20 minutes about this bank is partnering with this company, this bank partnering with this company, this one's, what's the name, Barclays just set up a $200 million fund to lead innovation through fintech, and a friend of mine, Simon Taylor, just left their firm to go start an even bigger one than that, a bigger incubator than that to accelerate it. So it's very much in the news right now. Things like Apple Pay and that Samsung Pay now and all these companies, they're making it happen because they don't need the banks anymore, and the banks are scared. So the banks want to be part of the conversation. Yes, sir.
So I'm a developer. Let's say I'm a developer. I have a team of developers. You're a developer. And we have this challenge, right? Now, if I'm developing bank software, I can go get a lot of money for developing that software. There's a huge opportunity cost for me to participate in something like this because I can sit down and write some Python scripts and make a lot of money versus working on an open source thing where I lose control of it, I'm not getting any funding. Where's my incentive as a nerd to actually burn some calories on this?
Well, where we want to get the data from is publicly available sources. It is Java and Python is what they're interested in. They are interested in open source, but they also want to get information from licensed data. They also want to get information from social media, and they also want to get information from news and blogs and whatnot. So it's a total picture of what's happening right now in fintech.
Yeah, you're describing the data registry, which is something that I invested $250,000 in building, right? So that's a big order for asking somebody.
Well, what they're really looking for at this point is proposals and samples. Kind of we want to call it an abstract test. This is what I would do. This is how I would build it. This is how I'd be involved. I'm going to start here and I'll go to you. Yes, sir.
Are the banks and their sponsors looking at the participants as acquisition targets?
As this is going to be open source, I don't see, this is more for next money, not so much for the banks, not so much for, it's so next money can use it as a tool to tell people what's going on in fintech. It's so we have access to the information and we know exactly what's going on. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I don't know where you
So with the ideas that come up throughout this conference, what's happening with the ideas? I get that it's open source, so people have access to it.
It's all
So if I have this idea, again, I'm a developer too, and I have this idea, why would I go to this versus a startup weekend where no one's going to take any ownership of that? I can go and build that company if I want to.
Because this organization can probably facilitate growth of that much better than something that's more general, like Startup Weekend. This is specific to fintech and something specifically for fintech, and Startup Weekend is a lot more general. So this organization as a whole could take this platform and put it in front of people that
developers have true ownership over these ideas, because how I understood it was they're just building it for everyone else to use, and then that's it.
No. It's open. The whole idea is open, collaborative involvement. Being a part of it.
Right. So what's the incentive for
to create something, just like anything else, to create it from the ground up and develop it, and
to help banks
to have ownership. I'm going to go with this joke to the end.
So it seems to me like maybe you're firing out a few different things, and maybe that's where some of the confusion is coming from the room. So one thing, you're talking about a collaborative, a group that basically gets together for networking functions within the realm of fintech, people who are interested in that, which could be anybody who is on the consuming side, the using side, or the developing side. So it's a good place to go if you would like to meet other people who are in that, if you're either developer or consumer of that product. And the second thing is that this specific thing is a project that is being sponsored by that group.
Exactly.
If you're not interested in the project, you still could be interested in the group as a networking opportunity. Did I say that
You
correctly?
had that one done. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, sir.
I think crowdfunding is not necessarily the definitions of fintech. Is it part of that conversation?
Yeah, the crowdfunding, the development of that idea. Yes, because in crowdfunding you have to collect money and you have to disperse it. So fintech definitely plays a part of it, and just the idea of funding in general, fintech goes great with that. To the Queen.
Thank you, sir. I get to ask your final question, and what is it that this community can do for next month?
If you're interested in financial technology or just think this might be something new and different that you want to be involved in and you want to be part of an international organization and interact with that organization, get involved. Like I said, there's no fees, there's no dues, there's no charge for the meetings. You don't have to pay to become a member. It's strictly to build community of people who are interested in financial innovation here in Tampa Bay, much in the way that they built, this group itself.
When and where again?
I haven't organized the meetings. I have set up a Facebook group. I'm talking with 3 or 4 different meeting spaces about meeting space. I'm going to have one in Tampa once a month. I'm going to have one in St. Petersburg once a month. And I'm going to have one in Clearwater once a month because I want everyone to, and I know some people will not migrate, so I just understand that. Ultimately, I'm going to have larger events with speakers and a larger venue and that sort of thing.
What's the name of the Facebook group?
It's Next Money Tampa Bay, and we'll also have a sub page on nextmoney.org, not .com, but .org, nextmoney.org. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out today. If you're new, to see a couple new faces, and you're interested in what's happening up here, we do send out 2 emails a week. There is a sign-up sheet in the back corner. We'll send one out on Tuesday saying who's going to present on Wednesday, and we'll send one out at the end of the week that talks about the presenters. So if you miss it, you can catch what's happening on that email as well. And we have social media. I think that's all the greenhouse, but
Which you're welcome to follow.
You'll get all sorts of smart, intelligent information if you follow the greenhouse as well. If you follow us, it's all about startups and the 1 Million Cups community. So thank you, and thanks, Kawa, and have a great week.